Hello friends. So today I have a few little trees that I'm gonna make that are fall themed. These are some styrofoam cones that I got from the Dollar Tree. I believe I may have ordered them off of Amazon, but I know they have something similar at the Dollar Tree, or I've seen them before. So I'm just taking some leaves that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm taking a uh, like a what's it called, some type of antiquing ink, and I'm just going over them just to kind of dull them down a little bit. They are a little bright for my liking, especially like the yellow ones, so I just wanted to make sure that they were more of my color palette. So I just took all these and I went over all of them with this ink, distressing ink. It's Tim Holtz distressing ink, and I believe I used the color, I think it was antique linen. I used a couple different ones, antique linen and or no, I'm sorry, antique photo, and then walnut, I think it's called walnut stain. So I just used that and I went over each one of these. Okay, so then I'm taking truffle chalk paint from Waverly, and just to be sure that nothing kind of pops through, I don't want to see any of the white, I'm just going to paint over this cone. Now I did paint two of them. I only ended up making one of these little trees, but I wasn't sure at the beginning, so I did paint two, but I only show one. But I just put that on there, let that dry, just in case anything, like I said, pops through. Now I'm hot gluing these on here, but at the top you can see where it's white. I started at the top and the leaves weren't laying quite right, so I took them off and I just started down at the bottom. So I eventually cover those white spots up with that same truffle paint. But I'm just layering, I'm using different colors. I'm using the yellow on the bottom, and then I go up a little bit with the orangish color and kind of rotating back and forth. So I'm trying to get them to lay down. I'm trying to cover up as much of that styrofoam tree as I can. Excuse me. And in the end, I end up taking a couple leftover leaves and cutting them into smaller pieces so that I can fill in all the gaps that I could see from my eye level. So, and I also used this glue gun, but I used it on a lower heat setting so that it wouldn't melt the styrofoam. So I just go from bottom to top, wrapping around. And then here's where I take those leaves and I just kind of cut them into threes, and then I place them in any little blank spots where I could see that brown popping through. This is something you could use on like a larger tier tray. I have it just on a table that's right inside my front door with a couple other things. Sorry if you can hear my dog, he's in the background. It's very loud. Okay, so then I have these little wood pieces that I got from, again, the Dollar Tree, and some wood rounds that I believe I got these on Amazon, but I do think every once in a while they have them at the Dollar Tree. I'm pretty sure I've seen them there before. So I just glue them together, make a little stand for this tree. And then I take the pip berries, I think they're called, also from the Dollar Tree, and I kind of use that as like a little garland going, kind of wrapping it around the tree. I go from top to bottom. And I try not to be too, I'm trying to keep the garland like loose, because it was kind of pushing down on the leaves a little bit, and I didn't really like the way that that looked. So I just wrapped it around a couple times, and then I took the very bottom, you can see there, and I just kind of twisted it inwards so that I could poke that into the styrofoam. I don't even think I glued that, actually. There it is, the finished product. I think it's really cute. Okay, so for the second project, I'm taking just one of these wooden signs that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm not even sure what it even had on it, but I had removed the paper from it, and I'm just taking a piece of scrapbook paper that I believe I got from, it was either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I think Hobby Lobby. And I'm just taking some Mod Podge, and I'm just gluing that down a little bit at a time, because if you've watched my videos before, I struggle with the Mod Podge. So I've learned my lesson this time, and I'm just going little by little. And I just go over the sign until I reach the end of the paper. And then I'm going to turn that over and cut that off, and I'm going to use the remainder of that paper and try to line it up as best I can with the rest of the sign. So it is like a shiplap type of look, so I tried to get that as even as possible. But I do end up covering it up as much as I could, and I don't think that it was visible unless you like really look for it. So I'm just lining that up like the best I can, and then I'm gonna again just trim off the excess that I have there. So I'm taking some more of those little sticks or stems or whatever in that bag that I got from the Dollar Tree. If you guys can find these, I would grab a couple of them, because there was probably a period of about a year where I could not find them anywhere. So when I did finally find them again, I grabbed probably 4 or 5 bags of them. So I'm just using these, and I'm spelling out fall. And for the middle of the A, I'm going to trim that down with my, oh, what are they called? Those little shears. And then I take my, excuse me, I take my glue gun back on the high setting, and I just glue that into, you know, the phrase or the word fall. And I also cut that the second piece of the F. You know what I'm saying. You can see it. So I just cut that down because I thought it looked a little weird with it being both the same length. So I just take and arrange those, and that's where I covered up that seam. And when it's all said and done and finished, I don't think that it's really visible. I notice it because but I kind of also look for it as well. But I asked my son if he could see it, and he couldn't see it, so I just finished gluing them on. So I actually don't think that I put it in this video, but because I had to kind of put that over to the side a little bit, the words more so to the right, I left that spot open, and I wanted to put something there like a leaf or something. But here I am just taking some rope that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gluing that down to the sign, and I just wrap each, you know, I go all the way around creating a border. And I really take my time with this, because I see a lot of people that do borders and things like this with the rope, and it doesn't come out even if you try to do it like all in one fell swoop. So I just take my time. And I make sure that I curve those edges too as much as I can, those corners, so that it covers up the edge of the sign. And I do that while, while the glue is still hot, before it's set, so that I can make sure that it actually looks like a corner instead of, you know, being able to see the corner of the sign peeking out from behind the rope, if that makes sense. So I just cut that down and then glue it, and I cut off the excess, trying to make sure that I get it to blend in as best I can. And then I'm just looking over some different rub-on transfers and stickers and things like that. So I found these really pretty rub-on transfers at the Dollar Tree this year. I haven't seen them before, I don't think. So I picked up a couple of those, but just adding a couple little embellishments, making it, I think it was a little too plain for my taste without anything on there. So I just take them, set it down, and use a popsicle stick to rub those on there, making sure that you peel that, like I peel that backing off nice and slowly so that I don't mess up anything. I really love these rub-on transfers. They are so pretty. They go on almost anything. I mean, they even have ones that go on like glass. They have a lot of really cool things. So I'm just trying to decide which one I want to use. So I put one in each corner here. Oh, I did put it. Yep, there it is. So, okay, so because I had that more space on the left-hand side, I wanted to take some flowers or something. So I took this pick apart, and I think I got it. It was either at the Dollar Tree or Walmart. But if it was at Walmart, it was like one of their 98-cent picks. So I just kind of pulled that apart, and I started putting this together just to kind of cover up that gap that I had created for myself there. And I forget what those flowers are called, but I always grab a lot of those too. I really like that color palette. And then I take some Spanish moss, and I just glue that on the bottom just to kind of cover up the bottom of that flower there. I think it looks really nice. And then I end up trimming that moss a bit, making it so it's not hanging over the sign. I hit the sign a little bit, kind of trying to shake that off because I don't like when that stuff falls on the floor. So just take my scissors and trim it all up. Make it look nice, but still pretty rustic. And there it is, so pretty. I did put a back on that so you could hang it. Oh, I love it. Okay, so this is a sign that I got from a Walmart haul actually just a couple weeks ago. And my plan was to take that little piece off the front of it, but I felt like I was going to rip the paper and it was going to be a whole thing. So I ended up just taking a razor blade and going through the back, the glue on the back, and popping out the back. But I made sure to take right there a razor knife to make sure that I'm not peeling that paper back off of it in case it's stuck. And it started to, so that's why I grabbed that razor knife. And some of it did come off, but you can't see it. And there was also staples in there holding it, so I was just taking my little pliers and pulling those out. And that thing did not want to go anywhere. So here I take some ivory chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to cover up where it says always and grateful. Now I really like that thing. I think it's pretty as is, but I wanted it to kind of go with that fall sign that I had just made. So I use that paint, trying to be real careful not to get on the like plaid pattern. So I make sure to paint from the inside out and try not to get any on that pattern. And I think I ended up doing 3 or 4 coats actually of this paint, and using my heat gun in between each layer to kind of speed up that drying process. So I couldn't decide what I wanted to do with These rub-on transfers, the one that I'm cutting out, that's the one that I really wanted, but it just wasn't fitting properly. It was a little bit too big. So I ended up using this fall rub-on transfer. So these are the same rub-on transfers that I used in the last sign, so it kind of ties them together. So I just try to line that up best I can and center it, and then I use, I think, a popsicle stick again just to rub that in. And these only take a couple of seconds actually. Like I said, just making sure that I'm taking my time, peeling that that little plastic layer up. And then I just try to put it all back together. I take my hot glue gun. Oh, sorry. I took the backing off. I don't, in my house we use the command strip, so we don't have very many holes in our walls, and we like to keep it that way. So I took that hanger off. Oh, and then I took that same, the ink, the distressing ink, and I just kind of made it look a little older and rustic, and because it was a little shiny for my taste. And then I use the baby wipe to kind of get the excess off. Then I take the glue gun. I got stuck on the staple there. I didn't see those before. But I take my glue gun and I just glue that back right in place. There it is, nice and easy, very quick. It was fun to do. Alright, so the other project here, I believe this is the last one. So this was an old frame from a canvas. And I took the canvas off and I really liked the frame itself. It looked really nice, so I took my antiquing wax and I used a baby wipe and I just went over the entire thing with that antiquing wax. And I did all the sides, corners, yada yada yada. I think I really like the baby wipe technique more than just using a brush or sponge or something, because when you use a brush you use so much of it, and I feel like a lot of it is wasted because you end up rubbing it back off anyway. So then I took my heat gun and I dried that quite a bit, and then I took that ivory Waverly chalk paint to distress that, and I went pretty heavy-handed in the end. So I just did all the sides. I really don't like, you can kind of see it there where it's kind of like has this ripple effect from, I guess, the way the wood is cut. And so when I see those places, I just go a little bit heavier with the paint to try and cover that up. I thought I cut some of this out of here for you guys. So that's when I get a little bit heavier with it to try and cover up those lines. I don't know why it does. I guess it's the way the wood's cut. If I'm wrong, please let me know. It drives me crazy. Okay, so here I took a piece of foam core board that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just creating a backing for this. So I take it and I outline the outside of the frame. And then I just take a razor knife and I cut that out. So I used a ruler to make sure that I could try to get a very straight edge. And you really, when you're using foam core board, you really want to make sure that you have a very a very sharp razor knife as well. Otherwise you'll get all kinds of like bubbles and kinks and stuff in the cut. I take some sandpaper and I sand down the ivory colored chalk paint just to try and make that a little bit more rustic looking. And this frame actually, it had been around for a while and it was kind of just sitting in the back of my stash. So I ended up, I'm not sure if I showed it on here, but there was a part where I took the corner, two corner pieces apart, and I just put some hot glue in there to make sure that it wasn't going to go anywhere. Okay, so this is a piece of fabric, pretty sure again I got from the Dollar Tree, and I take that and I hot glue the fabric down to the foam core board. I'm just basically creating like a backing for this project. And had I thought about it, I would have used like a heat press or iron or something to get those lines out. But in the end, I don't think you could really see them. So I'm just trying to like kind of pull this tight to get those lines out, make sure that it sticks really well. I think I did end up having to go back over like on the sides. It kind of came up. I guess I wasn't quick enough with the hot glue. I'm just trying, there it is. So just go back over that, trying to make sure that the lines are straight, which is kind of sometimes it's hard to do because when you're pulling the fabric, it wants to stretch and kind of turn on you. But I think I did pretty good here. So then you take some really sharp scissors and I cut off the excess, and then I end up kind of wrapping it almost like a present. Just wrap that around the back side of the foam core board. So again, just taking that hot glue, gluing it to the back, trying to pull it a little bit tight. So I'm also making sure that I kind of trim up the ends, cut them off so nothing's sticking out, because it's just about the same exact size as the frame there. So then I got the sign from the Walmart haul that I had done. I think it was just under $2, but I really liked it. So, but it's meant to hang, so I cut off the twine that was on the back, and just take I want to make sure everything fits. I line everything up, and then I take my hot glue and I glue that Grateful sign down. And I don't put glue over the entire thing. I do take a lot of my projects apart after a while, so I didn't want it to be too tough for me. So I just glue that down. And then I take my frame and I do the same thing. I glue that to the foam core board. Sure everything's lined up nice and neat, and then I take my scissors and trim off, you know, any of the little excess flyaways. That's the end. So let me know if you guys like these projects, which one was your favorite. I really truly appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.